Once the connections are done, you have to now ensure that you have put on the main plugs and you have switched on the power supply. So now the next job would be to keep the jockey on this end and check as to where is the galvanometer deflecting. So let me keep it here, deflecting to the right hand side. Now if my connections are okay, now when I keep the jockey on the left side, it should deflect on the left side too. So I'll keep it here, should deflect into the left side. So my connections are complete. Now I need to find out a place where I get the null point. What is the easiest way to locate the null point? You keep it somewhere in the middle here. Check which side the deflection is. Deflecting on the right again. Keep it on the left. Again the right. Again on the right. Which side is the deflection? It is now to the left hand side. As you approach, you see that you are getting the null point somewhere here. Now if you take the reading, corresponding to that you get a reading of 26 centimeters. Now what precaution is to be taken is, you should always get the reading from 30 to 70, not beyond that. Your reading should not be more than 70 and your reading should not be less than 30. So in that case, what we need to do is, we either adjust the rheostat or we adjust the voltage here to get it in between that 30 to 70 range. And you could also change the values here to get the deflections on either side. Whenever you use a resistance box, be very careful with these plug keys here, because you got to key them in as tight as possible, because as you observe that when you remove these keys, that much value of the resistance is introduced in the circuit. Here I have removed 2, so that 2 ohms value is introduced here in the circuit. Now if you leave one of these or any of these loose, then that much amount gets added, even though the key is here. If it is loose, so instead of 2, you will be ending up adding 52 and you may not get deflection on either side. So here I have kept 2 here. And let me just take the reading for this 2 ohms now. Now I am just lightly tapping it. Ensure that you don't move it or just don't slide it like that. Just tap it when you go, because you don't want to change the cross sectional area. So here I have got the reading at 45.5. So my first reading for 2 ohms, Lx will be 45.5. I will just show you how to take the readings, how to write it in the respective column. Let us do away with the previous reading. We will take one reading here as 4 ohms, and for 4 ohms let's take one reading. Now I'll keep it on this side, keep it on this side. So here if you see at this point, even when I tap, it is not moving at all. This is the null point for 4 ohms. So the null point is exactly at 54.5. So now let us note down 54.5 as the first reading. This is the table which you have to follow. Here, how much did we take? 4 ohms. So we'll take 4 ohms here. Lx is 55.5 centimeters. I'll talk about Ly a little later on. So now let us, instead of 4, let us take now 5. and do the similar procedure. So it's somewhere 51.3. So this reading for 5 ohms, this is 4 ohms here, plus 1 is 5 ohms. So for 5 ohms, it is 51.3 centimeters. And let us take out for 6 ohms. That is just 6 ohms. Ensure that the keys are all kept tight. Now if you go by this trend, so for 4 ohms you got 55.5, for 5 51.3, naturally for 6 the length should come down. So it should be less than 51.3. Let's see how much we get. Approximately at, it may not be a very correct reading because of the defect in the resistance boxes. It's exactly somewhere near 46.3 approximate. So if we write it down here, 6 ohms, 46.3 centimeters. Let us take 2 more readings. We'll take for 7 ohms now. It should be less than that amount. So we are getting it at 43.5 approximately. And one last reading we can take, and this could be say 8 ohms. So 4 plus 2, 6 plus 2 is 8. It should naturally be less than 43.5. So somewhere here, say maybe it is 41. So for 8 ohms, it is 41.0 centimeters. Now let me temporarily put it off. Let me put that off as well. Now, why have I not calculated Ly here? Can anybody think of it? That is because it is a meter bridge. So whatever is the Lx, 100 minus Lx will be your Ly. Fine. So if this is 55.5, 100 minus 55 will be 45.5. So right here 44.5 centimeters. So accordingly, you can all convert this and write down. I have written it down